Brendan Benson is a musician, singer-songwriter, producer, and founding member of the Raconteurs. As a solo artist, he's released 7 studio albums, most recently Dear Life, released on Third Man Records in 2020. Brendan talks with John and Stewart about the recording of Dear Life, his writing process, the Raconteurs, and over 20 years of making music, from Detroit to Nashville. This interview was recorded at Sear Sound in January of 2020.
You just made a new record.
Yeah.
Solo record.
Mm-hmm.
You did it all yourself?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Did you do it in
Some think so.
home studios or professional, like both?
I did it in my quote-unquote studio, my home at home.
Where is that home?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And the record started actually in a really cool place I had, a really nice, proper studio in Midtown Nashville. Amy Grant's old place, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of already, it was hooked up, you know. It was small, very small, but in a cool old building, along with Butch Walker had a studio in there too. And
Great.
It was a cool vibe and everything. And so it started there, and then sadly, the building was deemed
Condemned?
Yeah, condemned. It
Wow.
was condemned. And so, yeah, it was a bummer. And it was a really strange feeling too, you know? Like, I didn't realize how that would, I mean, I knew I had to get out of there, and shit, I got to find a new place. And, you know, I guess I'll set up at home, which I did. And I put everything in storage, you know, all my gear. I got so much stuff, you know.
Right.
But I don't know, the emotional thing, like, it was weird. I'm not choking up. I just have to swallow.
Yeah. Super emotional.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like sadness, you know. It wasn't that sort of thing. But
It was jarring.
it was a weird, jarring, yes,
Yeah.
upsetting, and the process too. I had started to record. Well, I thought I was onto an album. You know, I think like I was excited about making music, and the rug was kind of yanked out from underneath. So I then set up at home and continued, and it was all good. But I don't know, it was a weird little thing to happen during the record. Now, also, actually, it happened again. We moved house. We moved across the city, and I was in the basement of my house, but we moved to this place which has a detached building out back. And I've wrote in all 3 of those places. So this record kind of,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So how much did
Not
you
super
do drums
exciting,
in the
you know.
first place? Did you do drums in the first place, or did you do
I do.
drums in all 3? Or?
This record's kind of strange. I wrote differently on this record, I guess. Like, for instance, a couple songs I wrote on the drums, like, you know,
Great.
like I got a cool drum sound, and
Yeah.
I liked it, you know, and in my head I'm kind of, you know, that kind of thing.
Singing along
And then,
melodies in your
yeah,
head
like
too?
thinking like
Yeah.
this could be,
Cool.
you know, whatever. And then I go out there and, you know, while it's quick in my mind, you know, do a quick guitar thing, because of course you can't, like, you know, talk while you're playing.
Right.
Here's where the chorus
Verse.
is, you know. So it was kind of fun to do that way. Like, you know, that was interesting. The process was definitely like, I kind of did all kinds of different things. Like, wrote songs on like I don't know what it's called now, the Greek instrument.
Bouzouki?
Bouzouki, yeah, that's right. And kind of wrote a song on that, you
Wow.
know. And
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So it was
Which
fun.
song
This
is
record,
that? Which song is that?
Richest Man. It's called.
Oh, that's
Richest-
great.
Yeah. And I didn't use it on the song, but
Okay, because that's an interesting take, because we heard a couple of the songs, and
Very cool.
very
Thank
cool.
you.
The record
Thanks very
sounds
much.
great, but Richest Man, my thing was like the horn. Like, it's funny, you started on Bouzouki, but now you have like a great horn arrangement.
horns.
on
Yeah,
it, which
it's
is
very
interesting.
misleading to talk about the Bouzouki. Just kind of like, you know, inspired
Took
the
you
song,
somewhere.
but then in the end I was like, wait, this is kind of more. I don't know, like this
Yeah.
it changed, and that happens often, you know,
Yeah.
with my stuff. I'm only me, so. And I can do that. I can go down rabbit holes, or I can.
What was
Yeah.
it, the
you know.
tuning of the instrument that took
I think
you
it was
there?
so simple. Yeah, it was just I couldn't figure it out. I think I had figured out some, you know, 3 chords, and that song is like 3 chords. I was like, okay, I think I got it, you know. And then I was
Wow.
like, oh, I started singing along,
It
and
doesn't sound like it's 3 chords too. It's like, it's so rich. You know what I mean? Like, different things are happening.
well, that's what I thought on the Bouzouki. I'm like, wow, this song is. I think when I then transcribed it or played guitars on it, I was like, oh, this is only 3 chords. This is nothing. Wait, shit.
Well,
I remember
you could
hearing a
say
story
that
about.
Bach or Beethoven.
Yes,
right?
yes. I mean, once you
Bach is only
kinda,
3 chords
Well, a lot of classical music is
written
not,
on Bouzouki.
You're fucking idiot. Welcome to
bullshitting us
Schmuck
again?
Club.
We'll never-
Welcome.
I see how this works.
That's easy.
Yes, it happens quick. It escalates quickly.
Right.
It devolves quickly.
Yeah, that's I call it escalate. I have a very low IQ.
So, what's your first instrument?
Guitar, and I mean, I'm not even very great at guitar. I mean, I know enough to play or to write.
Right.
I can't like shred on guitar. And then, I play a little, I don't play keys, and
There's a lot of keys on the record.
it takes me forever to do that,
Right.
But I do like to write on keys, just because I'm so lost. And it's, I think that's very common for artists to do,
Right.
I remember hearing a story about Pete Townsend saying that he just got sick of his guitars or something. He said, I want to change tune. I'm just going to like get weird and change my tuning and so that I'm completely lost, and I'll write a whole record. And I think he wrote a record like that, like Who's Next or something.
Wow.
Or I don't know. I don't know if that's totally true, but he then later, when he went back to kind of perform these songs that he had written, he realized that they were only 3 chords. They were just the same chords, E, A, and D, that he had
Just
been
voiced
using, but they're voiced different.
Right.
And he was just excited
nice.
because this new tuning, and so I think that's kind of a common theme, or
So you're kind of
ongoing
fearless.
theme.
You're not afraid of like going somewhere on an instrument that you're not facile on, but you hear
yes,
some beauty in it, and you just go
Right.
down that path.
I mean, I think that's I don't know what that is in me. The artist in me, maybe, that wants to, just
the artist.
leave me alone with this thing for a minute.
Right.
Like I need to kind of.
When you started
I don't
this record, did you conceptualize that it was just going to be you? Like,
No.
I'm going to make.
In fact, I never wanted to be just me. I never conceptualized that ever. In fact, I always imagined myself in a band, and
Right.
and the songs I write, I'm sure you can hear it. They're band songs. They're not like
yeah, for sure.
I mean, or they're arranged,
Yeah.
and it's not like singer-songwriter shit. Like in fact, it's so boring to me.
I mean, the first song on the record comes out like so hard,
and that's
a
what I
hard
want
band,
to, yeah.
and it really
and that's why I want to
grabs
say I'm
you
trying to
for like
always,
2.5 minutes. It's like grabs you by the collar and goes, listen to me.
Oh, nice, thanks.
And then you go into the next song, and it's just
Hey, I got a
a
question.
whole different.
Was your father a welder?
He was, yeah, and
Wait a minute. How do you know that?
I was just vibing him.
No, that's
That's
The
amazing.
third half a
Half a boy, half a man.
boy,
yeah.
half a man. I think
Motherfucker.
it's maybe the opening,
No, it's not. It was the first song that I.
but it's the opening line, isn't it?
Oh yeah, sorry, the
Yeah,
opening
yeah,
line. Yeah,
right.
I was born a welder's son.
Right.
Yeah, that's been actually a theme throughout my career. I have another song called "Son of a Welder." I think when I was a kid, that was so cool. And my parents were divorced, so I didn't really know my dad actually growing up.
Did you up in Nashville?
No, Detroit.
Detroit. Cool.
And he went down to Florida. So we were kind of estranged, I guess. But I had these pictures of him in his welding gear, his helmet and his shirts. And I remember when I would visit him too, his shirts were all holy, had like little holes on them and stuff. I just thought that was cool, and it was, I think, that first kind of being enamored with my dad, thing. So that's
What did
cropped
he
up in the
weld?
songs. He welded in the hulls of ships sitting out at sea, or he would take a boat, I guess, out there. We actually lived in New Orleans at the time.
Oh wow.
cool.
Before he went to Florida, and then we went to Detroit. But anyhow, so yeah, he was like, what are they called, like outriggers or something? Or, it sounded gnarly. Whatever he did sounded like, that was the other thing.
Dangerous.
Yes, dangerous, and like, all day long he's in like confined space,
Right.
wet, and no sunlight. Just and he
burning
he
fire.
never saw the sun. He
Yeah.
never saw the sun rise
Right,
because
wow.
we'd drive him to work at like 5 a.m. or something. It was nuts. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So you grew up in Detroit and then started playing in bands there?
Yep. Like,
Favorite bands coming up as a kid?
I love the Cars,
Mm-hmm.
and like that was the
R.I.P.
first record I bought. What's it called? The Cars,
Yeah, I think it was just
with like Just What I Needed and all that stuff on there.
Roy Thomas Baker.
Yes. God, sounds so good too. Man. It sounds so weird, strange when you listen to it, right? Like, like I would never
pretty dry,
do
right?
that, but
It's pretty
it
dry
sounds-
and immediate.
It's really dry, and I don't know. Just it sounds so tweaked,
Yeah.
tortured,
Right.
like just like they just really broad strokes.
Great
you know?
guitar playing.
Yeah,
And
just
oh my
everything.
God, that
Elliot
guy is
Easton.
insane. I
And,
still
yeah.
can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Ben Orr.
Ben
was the
Orr.
bass player, yeah.
Oh, that's the bass player.
Yeah, and then they
Rico
they
Kasich
both
was the lead
sang
vocalist.
But the guitar player was who?
Elliot Easton.
Elliot Easton.
Yeah.
Right.
Left-handed.
Was
Yep.
he?
Yeah.
Oh, I did
Really
not really.
great player.
Learned a couple of his solos, and have since forgotten them. I couldn't play them now, but
So kind of popish rock.
Yeah, but then I was the Cars and Devo started. My dad turned me on. My dad was he shaped my whole musical
That's
taste.
fantastic.
I think. Yeah, he had this great record collection. He was very young, when he had me, so he was still really kind of into music, and he played me when I was a baby. He said he played Cream for me and the Stooges and
That's so
MC5
good.
and Bowie and T-Rex, and I think that was kind of getting in me or something.
Was Motown at all a part of it?
Not
being
really.
From there?
No, when we moved back to Detroit, Motown was like a fixture, right? The station, there was a station devoted to it and all that, and of course it was everywhere being in Detroit, but I never appreciated it. Not until now. I think more now I can appreciate it. But yeah, I just didn't have the sound that I liked,
Right.
It was,
There's a lot of music in my life that I didn't appreciate until I had to go way back, like Big Star.
mm-hmm.
Like I didn't really know them growing up, and then in the '90s when everybody loved them, I was like, how did I miss this?
Yeah, right.
So. But it's like Christmas. You open up a present. It's like, oh, Big Star.
Right.
You can listen to all this stuff. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And some of my favorite Motown is really not, I like the kind of obscure stuff, I guess, not the hits, Like When the Hunter Gets Captured by the Game is one of my favorites, It's so bizarre. I think that is considered Motown, right?
I think it is, yeah.
But yeah.
And then, so how long did you stay in Detroit? Or I should say, when did you go to Nashville?
So then Detroit, I was high school, and then out of high school I went to California, followed a girl out there, and sorry, we skipped over high school. That was kind of all the bands, punk bands I was in, and we would actually come to New York a lot. I was in a band called Pony Down and Dogborn. Smart Bomb was another name. We had different incarnations, different whatever lineups. Terrible music. But we played the Pyramid a lot,
sure.
in the Lower East Side in the 80s.
Yeah.
Hung out there, Tompkins Square. We stayed in squatters' places, and punks, hooked us up, and it was great. It was a great time.
Pyramid
and then
was quite a place.
Pyramid was great. It was so fun, man. And then Brownies, and
Yeah.
that was a huge, that just blew my mind, that whole scene down there, and punk, and and like I was saying, my dad also was kind of turning me onto the Clash and Devo. So I was all over the place, and then I loved rap. I kind of got into like Sugar Hill Gang stuff, and I loved New York. I was enamored with New York City and like the Sugar Hill Gang, and like I wanted to go to Harlem, and I wanted to go up there and see what. So I don't know. I'm rambling. Sorry.
No, that's what we do. Yeah, exactly.
It's all coming back to
we
me
need
now.
you to ramble, please. It's positive.
Ramblecast.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and I don't actually hear any of that stuff in my music. I don't think anybody
Those
else would either.
influences,
Like,
right.
like I'm heavily influenced by David Bowie, and Elvis Costello, and punk. Like you don't hear that in my music, I don't think, but
Right.
definitely it was there.
Were your
It
high
was-
school bands punk bands?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, like hardcore bands. I was way into Discord, DC hardcore.
So a
loved
lot
all
of
that stuff.
a lot of shouting, and
A lot of screaming, yeah, that kind of stuff. But then, kind of got into rap, and then
Did you ever do rap?
no, but I did breakdance a little bit.
Oh,
Nice.
wow. Can we see that on the podcast?
Yeah, I'm gonna look on
That's a
YouTube
big-
for that. I'm gonna
You're not
Google
gonna
that on
find
YouTube.
any. You're not gonna find any videos of that.
I don't know.
Thank
The deep
God.
run.
You break dance too, Johnny, don't you?
No,
Fucking
I can
idiot.
barely move.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't
It was
break
a short.
dance with a walker.
It was a short-lived thing.
Yeah.
It was a fad, definitely.
So L.A. or California? Was that L.A.?
Yeah, I went to Los Angeles. Oh, and I was gonna say that's when I met. So I had been in those bands, but of course they never work out, right? So I was like, screw this, I'll do it myself. I figured out on my tape machine how to overdub. I could do a couple overdubs
What
before it
year
sounded
is
like
this?
shit.
What year is this?
This is like, I guess I was 16,
Wow.
17, right? 18 is when I moved to California. So
So you're analog at this point.
yeah, but I'm saying cassette deck. Like I had a dual cassette
Yeah,
deck,
right.
right?
Oh,
That
wow.
thing
That's
with
great.
the mic mix feature, and I plugged my
Nice.
dumb mic in, my realistic mic in there, and I was like, I could harmonize with myself, and I was just like, "Pfft, that's it. I'm hooked.
great.
This is amazing. I'll never leave my room.
Yeah.
And so I didn't leave my room until I moved to California, and I met Jason Faulkner because my girlfriend was living with another woman who was dating him. And Jason Faulkner, I don't know if you know him.
Jellyfish?
He's Jellyfish,
Yeah.
Jellyfish.
Yeah, they
and-
were great.
Yeah, and he's like, He's so cool. He's like the most talented guy ever.
Yeah.
He's like
They were a great
insane,
band.
virtuoso. He can play anything, and so I was like, holy dude, like this guy's so cool, you know. And I played him my stuff, and I was like, I got some songs, and he's like, these are cool, man. We should record them. So we recorded them on his cassette 4-track. They sounded amazing. He got them to sound great, and that's what got me this record deal with Virgin, my first.
Oh, V2.
No, it was Virgin first.
Virgin, okay.
That was my first record, and so that was pretty remarkable. Just I got signed just based on these demos that
It's amazing
that he made.
Did he make the first record with you?
Actually, we tried, but it didn't work. We went down to New Orleans, and we went to Kingsway because this is the '90s, and it was like the budgets were big. So I think my inner guy said, "Where do you want to go? Where do you want? Where any place in the world?" And I was like, "Oh, I want to go to New Orleans." Okay, there's Kingsway's down there, but he kind of couldn't help himself, and I just wasn't very good of a player, so he played everything,
Right.
And so in the end, it was kind of really didn't sound like me. It sounded like him.
It sounded like him.
So that was a bummer, and we actually kind of had a falling out because of that, and that sort of sucked. But I ended up going to San Francisco and re-recording the album with Ethan Johns, actually.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's how that went down. But
And did you play?
and then I had a band, but I played all the guitars myself, and and got to screw around, got to like have fun on my album.
Right. What was Ethan's vibe?
He was great. I think it was the second record he had ever made, like official or commercial record. I remember he was very young. I mean, I think he's younger than I am. I remember thinking that kind of all the while, just like,
Wow, this guy's young.
interesting, like, all right,
young guy.
yeah. But so talented himself and amazing, awesome. We had a great time, and I think we made a great record, and I think he did a great job on it. Except there's no bass on that record. It's like, fuck, I don't know what happened, but
No bass
I
in the
listened to
mix
it. There's
or
no bass guitar. There's in the mix, right? It's just it's just bass light, it's like.
Was that a mastering thing or just the mixes?
No, Doug Sachs mastered it too, which was like,
it's
pretty
interesting.
badass, by the way.
Yeah,
I went to his place.
When I do mixes, it's like the options are always vocal up, vocal down, and then a lot of times bass up.
Oh, really?
Because bass is such a mysterious thing in some
It
rooms.
really is.
It
You
is.
know what I mean? Guitars jump out, keyboards jump out, vocals are obviously easy to place. But the bass sometimes is just so...
That's what I struggle with the most.
I think we all
Low
do.
end.
And we had Greg Calby on one of our earlier podcasts, and he really was talking about how, like, great records, the bass speaks in a certain way.
Right.
Yeah.
And my kind of thought about that is, and you learn as you go, stuff below the, like, say you're on the low E strings, the really low stuff is hard to hear.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you make it loud so you can hear it. But
Takes
like
up
great
space.
bass parts are often in the middle of the neck.
Right.
Paul McCartney,
Yes.
Right.
he's never down there.
But he's
No,
also
you can't hear him.
constantly.
Because you can't hear the notes.
That's right.
Right.
And it's kind of like, oh, great, that's got a lot of bottom.
Right.
But it's
Especially
very
if they're
hard to
moving
mix.
down here.
Yeah,
now
that's right.
we're like, oh, dude,
It's
now
mush.
it's like mush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think great bass parts often are in the middle of the neck and not
Yeah.
laying down that.
Yeah, but he's just shredding the whole time anyway,
Who?
Paul McCartney.
He is,
He's constantly riffing.
And if he's not riffing, he can't even play the note. He's kind of going boing, boing, or like doing something. It's awesome.
But
I love it.
because I just got the remixed White Album.
Oh,
there's
God,
a
it's
box.
awesome, isn't it?
Oh, what is that
Pretty
like?
Holy
fucking
shit.
great.
Really? Is it?
It's great.
It's almost like, I mean, when I first heard it, I was kind of like, wait a second. Did they fuck with this? Did they do something here? Like,
Well,
this
they
sounds
did.
amazing.
They remixed it, but it's still the original elements. There's
Right.
nothing new
Nothing
about
added,
it.
nothing-
No.
And no space added. No,
No.
no,
I don't think so.
no virtual spaces
I don't
or
think so.
anything. Because you know what I mean? It just sounds so open now. It's like,
wide,
whoa.
and the vocals are unbelievable.
Yeah.
And
You
It's
get
really
it on
exciting.
vinyl, CD, or download?
I got it in the book. I got the big box. It's on CD.
Oh, okay, gotcha. And how did you hear it? You heard it on
I
what?
heard it on Jack's stereo. Jack has it, and we listened on. Oh no, we just listened backstage on. We have like a system backstage. It's pretty crappy, as you can imagine, but it sounded like whoa.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's great.
And I don't know what we were listening to. Yeah,
Right,
how
okay.
he owns it.
Oh, I haven't heard it yet. Now
It's
it
great.
makes me
And
wanna
there's
go get
also,
it.
did you happen to catch I think it's the Esther tapes or the Esper? They were the demos when they came back from India, right?
Oh wow.
They wrote all the songs in India when they were.
Oh, those were going around like 20 years ago. Remember on a cassette? I have those.
That's right. And there's a collection of them. But apparently, George Harrison bought an Ampex tape machine, took it to his house, and they all just sat there, no producer, nothing. And it's a couple of acoustic guitars. And as a songwriter, you'll appreciate that going back and listening to them, like all of the melodies, they didn't abandon one thing.
Right,
like, it
right.
was written in stone.
Dude, when you hear those demos, it's really weird. Like, wow, they kept that.
They kept
like
that.
that was
That's right.
That's unbelievable. Like, and so cool and smart. I mean,
Yeah,
just
that's right.
yeah. And because I ditched that shit in my demos, like, which is a mistake. I mean, I wonder if they knew that. I wonder if they knew that like, no, man, we've got to sort of try to preserve that. Because I don't know why I did that, but I did it. So let's do it.
Yeah. And I think about before them, a lot of artists had people writing songs for them. So they'd come in, give them the song, and they were vocalists. Or even if they were a band or someone else was writing the songs, but they were writing
more
the
like
songs.
performers or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they were writing the songs, but they weren't, their earlier records, they're not sitting around making demos going in.
Right.
They play them together, they fucking learn them.
Yeah.
It goes in here and they don't change it.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe that.
I
so
love
you think
that.
that's the key?
I think their training was that they kind of,
replicated everything.
when you write it, it's in
That's
stone.
it.
That's the composition.
But they know that it's also the moment, and it's
Yeah, that's right.
it's the spirits, and
Yeah,
whatever happens,
exactly.
you got to kind of obey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I don't. I'm like, well, I'll fix that later. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Right.
or I kind of accidentally went to the chorus or something. But I don't know. Just it's cool shit.
But so
Love it.
speaking of collaboration, so you work with Jack White.
Yeah.
And do you, like, speaking of two people who write together, do you write with him?
Sometimes we've kind of done it all different ways. Like sometimes we'll have finished things that will show each other, and then maybe we'll tweet, whatever.
Right.
Or we'll start from scratch and with songs. I'm trying to think now.
But do you write by yourself mostly?
Yeah. I do though. Co-writing, I do that with like kind of professionally.
But so in Nashville, that's
Yeah.
you get thrown into that
Yes.
world.
I kind of asked to be. I
Right.
kind of
That's
thought like
cool.
I could do this,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know. But it turns out I can't. I mean, it's too much, man. It's,
Right.
it's
Wow.
just clocking in
Right.
and I think I rely. I need things. I need, I don't know, inspiration or
Yeah.
something. I
Right.
need somebody to say something. I don't know. And also I like to take liberties too. Or I like to have, leave things maybe ambiguous.
Right.
Right.
And you can't do that in country
Right.
or, in those, when you're co-writing.
Right.
It's like, I don't know what you mean, dude.
Yeah.
No, man, dig it. No. No,
Is
I don't
it just
dig
more
it.
like what or professional? Is that, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like you wake up in the middle of the night and go, wow, that is, I got, and then you hit the guitar, right? Stuff like that, right?
Well, it's for different reasons, maybe. I think like they'll be like, "Oh my god, I got a line," like, or I got a twist. It's a bunch of one-liners, is what it is.
Man, I
right?
feel like a woman.
Yeah, okay.
Hey,
Dude
get a
looks
guitar.
like a-
Let's go.
No, who is that singer?
Brendan's here. Let's go.
But that's the famous. She was married to the guy who produced all the Def Leppard records. She had that huge hit. It was like one of the first country songs that didn't really sound like country. It had like synth horns in it.
Oh, really? I don't know.
Yeah, but it was a huge hit. Like it was like years ago. But it
Man.
was Man, I Feel Like a Woman.
Man, I feel like a woman.
Yeah,
that's kinda cool, right.
You couldn't
That's
get
it.
away from it. It was like just crazy.
So I think those writers would like, jump out of bed if they had that idea, and I guess that's where I was not good. I wasn't good at that kind of thing. Turn of phrase. I don't know. It's clever, and I got respect for that.
Right.
Those guys, but
It's not
and gals.
right, but it's not what you want to be doing.
Yeah, I couldn't do the job. I
Right.
couldn't have, and that's what this record actually was. My new record is kind of a reaction to that. I mean, I've been producing bands a lot and artists and writing with them and all this and not really doing my thing at all. And so that's what happened, I think, on this record. I was like, discovered it again and
Right.
had so much fun doing it. And I stopped writing with people and I was
Right.
like, yeah, man, I don't have to do that. This is fun as shit, and I can say anything I want, and I can do anything I want. It's great.
Well, I think what I got from the songs I heard were just the dynamic, and the songs are, each song is treated like with a different type of love and affection, and yet there's the continuity on the record of your voice and you, the artist, but yet like from the first song through, like I heard most of the record, but it's just really, it's amazing how it's super dynamic. The songs really have their own personality, but then there's that really, and it's hard to do this. It's hard to get the continuity of it sounding like the same record.
Right.
Yeah.
But also what's neat is I listened on headphones to it.
Oh, cool.
And I usually don't listen on headphones, but I was in an environment where it was better for me to, and like there was nothing formulaic about any of it.
No.
Like all of a sudden one song, the background vocals on the left.
Right.
Okay. And then all of a sudden there's stereo background vocals. And
Right. Yeah. That's Michael Ilbert. He mixed the record.
Okay.
And I don't know if you're familiar with him. He works out of Hansa in Berlin.
So you sent it to Hansa for mixing, or did you go?
Well, I sent it to him.
Yeah, but you didn't go.
But I didn't go. Right. No. So
he
dude,
positioned
he is the
things?
man. Yeah,
Awesome.
he is the fucking man. And he does like Adele, I think, engineers and mixes for Adele and Taylor. I think he's done Taylor Swift and like huge acts.
Is that how you got hip to him?
No, actually, a friend told me about him. I didn't know. I wasn't familiar. He kind of hooked me up. He's like, I know this guy Michael Ilbert, and he's a rock and roll mixer. I mean, he's really a rock mixer, you know. So I think he would love to mix your album, and I'm sure he would maybe give you a break on the price because he would enjoy it so much. And he did,
Wow,
in fact.
fantastic.
So it was like,
So he didn't adhere to your roughs? He
Not
kinda
very
went
much.
Where he wanted to go and ran it by
Or-
you and...
no, he didn't. I think he did to get the gist of it, the idea of what I was trying to go for, right? And then he got it there and then some. Like he just those guys, you know, they're magicians. They make shit like
What format do you record on?
I do Pro Tools now.
Right.
Like
So you sent them a Pro Tool session and just said,
I'm
do your
set
thing.
like on my console,
Right.
you know, my tape machine's over there that holds a lamp or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
But I can't. Pro Tools is perfect for me.
Yeah,
you know what I
right,
mean?
yeah.
Like I can try
Right.
everything and do anything. And
So you played all the drums.
I played almost all the drums.
There's no programming? Because some
There
of
is
it sounded
programming.
programming.
Yeah. Yeah, I play all the. Yeah, I should probably make that clear in the credits. Actually, now that I think about that, because there's songs that are totally just software drums
Right. But you programmed them.
that I programmed.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess I
First-
performed them.
Really?
So no one else played anything on the record except for you.
No, there was horns.
Oh, right, horns, right. And did he do the arrangement, or did you do the arrangement?
He did the arrangement, but not for Richest Man. I did Richest Man are synth horns.
Cool.
Those are actual, just you know.
They sound very good for synth horns. Like
Yeah,
they
I'm
actually.
kind of proud of those.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
Thanks for noticing.
No, it's really good because they don't
And
sound like synth horns.
I think Michael Ilbert hooked it up too. He kind
Good.
of got him perfect.
Yeah, that's a good job.
John Estes, this guy in Nashville, fucking awesome bass player, and John Radford, an awesome drummer, and those guys kind of play together in this band called Steelism. Dream rhythm section. I hire them all the time
Great.
for for anything. They're great. So I got them to come and play on Baby's Eyes. So I think they're on Baby's Eyes, but you know, honestly, I listened and I know it's John Estes, but I think it might be me on drums. I think I didn't.
Right.
I think I played I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's
That's funny
all
that
kind of a blur.
You don't know.
Well, wait, but
I know.
but
I'm like,
who's-
I would
but it's
have. Maybe
also-
he's trying to do me. He might have been. I think I told him like, do a dumber Phil.
Right.
You know?
But also, it's been quite a long time making the record, right? So it's been,
Yeah, it spans quite a
because you
few
stopped and
years.
started.
Yeah,
Right.
which is great. You know, in the end, I think that's why we get that. You know, why it's dynamic and different,
Right.
but still.
How did you know when you were done?
When I had 11 songs, I mean, kind of like I thought I was done after every song. I was just, oh no, that one. Oh, that's it, done. No, I don't have to write an album. That's the one.
So did you throw out songs? Did you come back? So you literally just did the 11.
I had stuff that I didn't get to. I got so many ideas and crap. Like, you end up like, I don't know if, like me, I feel like I can't move on until I've completed this thing.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to kind of, So I had ideas that I just didn't complete, and
Right.
some of those became Raconteur songs actually. So,
Cool. But I think that's better than like I'll use Bruce Springsteen, Darkness at the Edge of Town. I mean, when you watch the documentary, The Promise, I mean, he wrote like 150 songs for the record, and they kept throwing them out. They kept doing them and throwing them out.
Wow.
That's how Because the Night became a Patti Smith song, because he couldn't figure out a vocal melody in life. So he just gave it to Patti, the track, and she wrote, the vocal stuff. But to me, that seems like a nightmare scenario, because when you start throwing out songs and maybe you lose perspective and you throw out like great songs just because.
Well, if you have 150 songs for an album, man.
Well, maybe he didn't have 150, but he had 200 reels of tape. I know something like that. Like they recorded a lot of stuff. He wrote so many songs.
That sounds so daunting to me.
Yeah.
Like, gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
Like the Raconteurs, we kind of did that. We did it at Jack's place, and Jack he's got his way, his flow, his way of working, which is so fast, man, super fast, and that's what it kind of felt like in there for a minute, because we kept going, we kept recording these things, and I didn't know what was going on half the time. He's like, Josh, let's just get this, let's record this a little bit, and I don't know. And then at the end of the day, we have like 5 things. And then those things later become songs. Like I was like, wait a second, I didn't even like learn my part,
Right.
Lightning in a bottle. Just
yeah,
go for
right.
it.
Like I want to, yes,
Oh, that's interesting.
So, but it was kind of daunting because we had so much stuff at one point. I was like, Jack, I need to know what's going on here, man. I'm getting a little freaked out, So, because he had it all mapped out in his head. I'm like, dude, let me in on this,
How many records have you guys made?
3.
Mm-hmm. And do you co-produce them? Or
yeah, I think this last one was more of a group effort. It's produced by the Raconteurs, I think, for the first time. I think it says record says that, and because in the past it has been mostly Jack and I. LJ and Patrick have either just not spoken up or not had anything to say. I don't know. They just fucking wail, do their magic, and then sit back.
And you were saying you've been producing a lot of records.
Yeah. Trying.
Is that fun for you?
It's so fun.
To get out of
I love it, man. Because I love working in the studio. I love everything about it.
Yeah.
I geek out on the gear, and I love the process. I love just learning, and it's inspiring. And so I love to produce bands.
And I assume the Raconteurs records are tape based.
Yeah.
And so, do you carry that on into your other productions, or that's just for that band?
I haven't met a band, I guess, where it's kind of warranted it, or I thought it would make sense. Or what's that?
It's a real commitment.
It is a commitment, and you need to know your shit.
Yeah,
I mean, you need to like be player.
Right.
You need to really be able to play your shit, because we don't have, can't keep fucking around.
Well,
it takes a long time. You got to rewind and shit.
You have to have, but no, you have to have arrangements. You have to
beforehand.
You have to play the songs really well.
You have to do pre-production, and nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
But I've worked with bands who came in, and wrote 4 or 5 songs in the studio, just putting parts together, and you can't do that with analog.
Right. Like, although I did it like not totally like that. I wasn't editing or doing crazy edits or anything, but like Lapalco, I did that on my tape machine, and I punched in a lot of stuff, man. I was really had to massage and finesse a lot of things on that record. But it sounds awesome.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
But it was stupid. I could have done it way better on Pro Tools.
Right.
But it also kind of, like, there's the argument that, okay, it sounds better, right? Well, let's just assume that
it does.
Maybe it does. Okay,
Well,
let's say it does.
Have you A-B'd a basic track cut right to analog to Pro Tools?
Yes. But that was,
you can't tell me it doesn't sound
different. No, but I did
different.
it years ago, and Pro Tools wasn't as good.
Okay.
So it was not even a shootout. It was like, whoa.
Yeah. I mean, I did it at 88 too. 24-bit, and it still sounds really different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
But
I have Burl converters, and they sound great and closer to tape for sure. But
they have a color.
Yeah.
But I think, to your point,
and that breath, that kind of breathing
and that
thing.
depth.
Yeah. Yes.
That's really
3D,
interesting.
Yeah.
But I think also the process of what it does to musicians
slows it down.
It's an element that does affect the outcome of the
Yes.
performance. And for better or for worse,
better or for worse,
Right.
yeah.
it does have an effect, a creative effect.
Well, there's a major practicality.
And I almost think that
scenario.
maybe like someone like Jack probably is turned on by what happens in that process where people are going, oh shit.
Yeah, well, it's probably good for Jack too because it slows it down because he kind of goes so fast.
Right.
I mean, maybe it's kind of the good counteraction or something because I don't know. I could probably use that too, you know,
But
like
it's a commitment.
to think like I keep singing a fucking line, you kind of like boom, boom, spacebar, singing the line, singing the line, like fuck. I just need to like go away for a second, like maybe just rewind.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Put down the coffee.
Yes.
Right. It wasn't, yeah.
That was the thing I remember about mixing with analog was when you hit the autolocator and rewound, you had like 30 seconds to
Hey,
think about.
you did like
Yeah,
this.
you
no
thought
more.
about the song. I used to
And-
think about
Yes,
the song.
right?
And I
Or
used
your
to-
part, right?
Yeah,
Or
and-
what you're doing, right?
And you know, that wasn't intentional. Nobody built in
Yeah, yeah,
that
right.
part of it. And we grew up on tape before there was any of this stuff. But that was...
It was
you
a tempo. It was just a
right,
tempo.
exactly.
Yeah.
You made proper use of that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smoke a cigarette, take a minute.
That's
you know.
right.
Yeah. But also, I will say, not being a Luddite because I'm almost always on Pro Tools now, and I do love it, and I have fun
But you were
with it.
one of the last people.
I've been the last guy on everything. I'm always like the guy, okay, now everybody's doing this, I better catch up.
Right.
Like they joked around at the
But he
Magic
stayed
Shop.
on tape way longer than anyone.
Well,
Really,
the
yeah.
joke at the Magic Shop in New York City was I came every 3 months to test the analog machines to make sure they were working. Like John's here, we gotta fire up the multi-track. Let's see if it still works.
Uh-oh.
Like
That's great. I love it. Well, I
ridiculous.
mean, you know, you got your thing, and I don't know. You guys are working in different scenarios, producing. I'm sure it's case by case. You know, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But
did the Strokes? I'm sure. Well, did the Strokes use tape on that first record?
I don't know. That's interesting.
I would imagine the first record they did.
Didn't they do that in the basement of Wharton Tears, like his studio?
He was a tape guy.
He was a tape guy.
yeah.
Okay, they probably did then. Yeah.
But for me, the practicality, I guess, is outweighs or
Yeah, but-
outdoes the,
well, it sounds like
the sound. Like I just
yeah.
It's it's an instrument for you. It
Yes.
allows you to like go
Yeah.
somewhere that you couldn't possibly.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's really kind of the beauty of
and I
that thing.
sacrifice a little sonic quality, you know, which
You know,
is
but
you could argue
only
this.
we know that.
What's that?
Only we know the
Yeah,
difference
that's
between
right.
the sound.
I don't know.
No, what? But the
Like I
kids
mean, I
don't-
think
the kids
people feel.
can't
I think
AB
the
it.
layman or or whatever guy who doesn't care about, doesn't understand, know. I don't wonder if they might sort of pick up on
Really?
it.
Unconsciously.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, you know, it's like looking at film. You know, it has a right. Like you see the Joker in film. There's a reason why that's there. I mean, you know, I think people. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like to think people.
Yeah.
Can,
I just
Maybe
always
I'm
feel like if people
wishful thinking,
can't
I don't know.
AB it, they're just hearing it as it is, and to them, that's what it is. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
I mean, my
kids-
wife. You're right. My wife probably couldn't tell the difference.
Well, she doesn't know there's a difference.
She doesn't.
You know what I mean? I think most people out there don't know, so they don't know what the alternative is. They hear it as music.
Because I do ask her a lot, like do test her out a lot.
Right.
Like, what do you? Hey, do you hear anything? You know, like no, never. Just, really? God, you don't hear the difference between that? 88 and 96K.
or
Oh, that's torturous.
Even worst case scenario, I think that song needs banjo.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Yeah, that's scary.
It's funny that when we started talking about this, bass became sort of an issue.
Yeah.
And obviously, one of the things that is different about the digital world and the analog world is the low end response.
Yeah.
And obviously, the 2-inch 16 at 15 is a beautiful
Yeah.
thing.
Or 7,
Yeah.
7.5.
Yeah.
Can you
It's
do
a
that?
beautiful thing for exactly that reason. And
Yeah, the low end, right?
to
You
the
just
low
get-
end, and it was a sacrifice when
Yeah.
you went, okay, the noise floor is
Yeah. And
But-
did you sacrifice high end as well? Do you? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
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 That's why 30 imps became like such a new and improved, better
Right.
high end.
Right.
You know, and
Yeah.
then after
Quieter
a while,
and
yeah, yeah,
and
bu-
the low end right. It's just a little tighter, right?
Yeah.
does anyone ever listen to a record now, say an old record, and go, boy, I wish there wasn't so much hiss on it. We used to fucking be so paranoid.
I think that was a thing by the CD people. They created that whole propaganda that the noise,
hiss was bad.
The hiss is bad. Yeah, exactly. Like, and now isn't that funny? We can add it back.
Right.
We can add it into. I always wondered like that analog that on those plugins. There'd be an analog button or whatever it was.
Right.
And I always pressed it because I was like, well, I want it to sound like analog for sure, I guess. But then I realized, wait, that's a noise button.
Yeah, that's
like,
right. Exactly.
No.
Exactly. There's a plugin. I don't know who makes it. It's H delay.
Yeah.
As soon as you open it up, it goes.
Is it really? Is
It
that the
does.
thing
If
you had?
go to the analog thing, it's just turning. Okay, get rid of that.
Jeez.
Isn't that what you had open in your program?
Yeah. Yeah, but the first thing
And
you
it's
do
funny,
is
I hear it, and then I hear it in like, because I actually listen to a lot of, hip hop and kind of, and I hear it in that all the time. You hear that, like, the fake noise, the fake tape hiss.
Right. Vinyl scratching.
Yes. I love it.
It's so funny.
And so at home, you have a Pro Tools rig. Do you have a console?
I do. I have an MCI JH6.
Oh, the brown one?
Yeah, the brown one.
Yeah, cool.
16 JH16.
Those are good.
Oh, that's great.
That's my tape.
Really nice.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, like I said, I don't really.
It's good for a lampshade.
I don't-
put your lamp on.
I don't use it a ton, but yeah, I need to get back into it actually because it's silly. I've got all this outboard gear that I think is gonna help things. I don't know, and I kind of buy into it a lot.
Yeah.
I get into it, so I've got all this crap, and I've got this great console that's totally easy with a patch bay and everything, and instead I don't know.
I
Gotta
think
have
we-
the other shit.
We all have
Right.
that dilemma.
Yeah,
Yeah. I go through phases of like, okay, hardware, pedals, and then it's I like this plugin.
totally right. Yeah,
and then you just,
Yeah. And then Jack's got a Neve console that's 16 1073s or
Oh, it's
whatever.
amazing.
It's just incredible. I mean, just anything sounds good. Everything sounds good.
Dude, just running signal
It's so
through those
weird.
things
Do you
sounds
guys-
so much better, than not.
Right.
And don't even EQ.
Yes.
Just run right through it, and it's like, wow.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Do you guys, when you're tracking, do you isolate stuff or do you all go in a room and
We try to isolate as much as possible, but again, it's so fast. It happened. Engineers, Josh, I feel so sorry for him. He's like
Just-
running around, trying to get shit set up, and Jack's, go press record.
Wow.
Not really, but it's a little bit like
Yeah,
that.
it's immediate,
It's pretty, yeah.
It's funny.
And there's not even any like check the drum mic,
Just
know.
go.
I mean,
Just go.
hardly, just go, yeah. Because in my studio, man, it's like check the drum mic. Now let's get let's get another mic for that tom.
Right.
I'm not ready yet.
change the heads?
That's
you
not
gotta start
true.
making
That's not
10-day
true, but-
records.
What's that?
That goes out the window. Make a 10-day record. That
Right.
goes out the window immediately.
Right, exactly, yeah. Fuck no, it's like just grab whatever drum has a head on it, get it, yeah.
So you're going to tour this record?
Yeah.
You're going to tour it with a band or by yourself?
I'm gonna tour with a band. I gotta figure that one out though. Now holding rehearsals at no, I'm just kidding.
Auditions will be in a half an hour.
Yeah.
But so have you thought about how you're going to present the record? Because it's there's a lot of music on it.
Yeah, and I have been thinking, and I I've thrown around or thought of maybe playing with tracks because I've kind of always wanted to do that, but I don't know how to do it. Like, how do you I don't know. Like, I gotta get somebody who's like a whiz, I guess.
Right.
With a computer
I don't think
and
it's
stuff.
that hard,
Really?
man.
These days.
Just like hit play, tell the sound guy like, okay, go.
Or you got a foot switch. Next song, boom, boom, next song.
Really? I mean, see, I don't know. Is that true?
I haven't done it, but I bet you Pete could help you with
Yeah,
that.
right. Well, I bet somebody who knows that kind of shit.
There's
That's
a
exactly.
band. There's a band in North Carolina called Bandway, and they play the tracks, except the tracks are on cassette.
No way.
So the guy hits
I think
play
that-
on the cassette. I swear to God, and there's the count off, and then and it's guitar and vocals,
That's
and it's
genius.
amazing.
That's awesome.
It's
Wait,
either
when I first
genius
saw
or
Beck,
no,
check
it's
this out.
genius. Trust me, you have to see them live. It's genius. It's
When
really good.
when I first saw Beck, I went to see Thelonious Monster in Los Angeles, down on like Pico, that place on Pico, like Martha's Hut or some shit. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting that totally wrong. But anyhow, Beck opened for him, and and he was great, of course. And I'd never heard of him. I didn't know who he was. No one knew who he was. But of course, everyone was on the stage, man. After seeing this guy, and then for his final song, he said, "I'm going to play my new single. It's called Loser." And he recorded it on the radio on this cassette, and he brought along this jam box which had a disco ball and shit, and he played the cassette version of his song on the radio, taped from the radio, you know what I mean? Like the DJ
With the
introduces
vocal and
it.
everything?
Yeah, with the vocal, and then just lip syncs the whole thing. But like did a great number. Like I think set the thing on fire, set the radio on fire and stuff, and it was great.
Wow.
Couldn't believe it. And then Thelonious Monster, like they were awesome, but tough act to follow.
Hard to follow.
Hard to follow.
And so, what are you doing in New York now, other than singing us?
Now came here really just to meet with the Orchard, the people who are distributing my record.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just kind of meeting the team.
Right.
And then I'm back. Yeah, it was just a quick trip.
How do you juggle the Raconteurs and your solo stuff?
I don't, because in fact, this record was ready to go before the Raconteurs started, and in fact, my manager and I were kind of planning in the planning stages, and then Jack was like, "Hey, man, you want to make a record?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I mean, that
Well,
sounds really
what's
fun.
that record cycle like? Is that like a year and a half? Or?
That was a year. Yeah, it was like almost to the day. So.
And your record was finished at that point, or
Yeah,
almost?
so I was like, well, okay. I mean, the Raconteurs is a lot more fun for me.
Right.
It's better money.
Right.
It's nicer touring, of course. So I was like, yeah, I got to do that.
And you guys are homies, so
And it's just fun.
Right.
It's not my favorite thing to go promote my solo album.
Right.
Go out there as Brendan Benson.
Right.
It's like, so the Raconteurs is like this great fantasy.
Right.
How did you meet those guys?
I met Jack in Detroit just
Oh,
through
that's right.
through mutual friends. Like I saw the White Stripes play, and I think their first gig, and I said to my friend, "Who's that, man? Like, you got to introduce me. That guy's insane." He's like, "This shit is incredible." He's like, he's doing like, you've seen the White Stripes.
Yeah,
It was crazy.
it was pretty jarring.
Yes, it was cool. So, and then we just hit it off, I think. I think he thought I was pretty cool because I had a record deal. And, he said, dude,
You were already on your way.
Yeah. And he gave me his demo. He said, can you give this to your A&R guy? It was hilarious. And I was like, yeah, but you're not going to need this.
Right.
And it's funny, my A&R guy was like, I don't get it. He passed. He's like, to this day, he's like, God dang.
That's so
And
funny.
did you guys?
And I
go
told
to
him that too. I'm like, dude, you don't get this, really? Come on.
Did you go to Nashville with him?
Kind of. Well, he went down there to make the Loretta Lynn record, which I kind of worked on a little bit with him, and so he bought a place down there while he was down. I think he just liked it, and like me, I did the same when we made the record in Detroit, the Raconteurs record in Detroit, in my house, my attic, on the tape machine and on the MCI and 1-inch 8-track. But anyhow,
Awesome.
and with all Coles mics.
Oh no.
He wanted to use all Coles. I was
ribbons.
like,
That's
no,
amazing.
dude, please, no. But on everything.
Pretty good.
Everything.
Yeah.
So he got a house down there, and then we went down there to rehearse for the tour.
Right.
And then, he had this huge house, and it was empty, so we rehearsed in the house. It was pretty fun. And it was fun, and I loved Nashville, and I was like, I'm buying a place,
Right.
and I'm looking to get out.
What do you think?
I don't like being so landlocked. I want to get by
the water.
by an ocean.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful because in 20 years
Yeah, right.
you might be the ocean.
I know, man. Be in the ocean.
Yeah.
So where do you think? Like, do you want to
I
go
don't
where
know.
there's a music community, or is that?
Well, yeah, probably. I
important.
probably would have to. I'm sort of tethered. I kind of have to. I'm still knocking on doors. You know what I mean? So I probably would live near Los Angeles, I guess.
New Orleans?
New Orleans? Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I love it down there.
Yeah.
That's a great city.
Yeah. But I figure, I don't know, in Los Angeles, I could maybe have a better go at producing and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
I would live in New York if it was kind of more of a beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
If
kind
it
of
was-
tough.
Yeah.
It is kind of tough.
It's so different. They're so
Yeah.
different, aren't
You'd
they?
have to hang out with guys like us, though. It'd be fucking brutal.
Whenever
brutal.
I go to LA, it takes me a day just to get my fucking bearings.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so different.
Yeah.
It's just so.
Are you a New Yorker
I was
lifetime?
born in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You know, we just recently, 2 years ago, moved down to Raleigh, North Carolina. So, but that I understand because my wife is from there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I grew up growing up in New York.
Yeah.
And then hanging out with him in the 80s and 90s and zeros.
Are you from New York as well? Yeah.
He's Bronx. I'm Brooklyn. But when I go out to LA, the first day I'm just always tripping out. Like, it's so different, you know.
What happens? Do you guys enjoy it?
For me, no, I don't.
Are you like, man?
I like it.
I like it. It's just I have to get used to, like.
I think they have to get used to you. Is the problem?
No, it's just like all the driving, the people, the traffic, the not walking, it's just a whole different,
How do people in North Carolina relate to a Sicilian, Brooklyn
lesbian Jew?
Yeah.
They,
Do they go what? Oh.
Everybody makes fun of the way I say Durham. Like, I don't say Durham, right? The town Durham.
How do you say it?
I say Durham. It's
How are
not
you
that.
supposed to say it?
I don't know. I say Durham. I have no idea. That's why I say Durham. But no, I get mad. Coffee.
Durham.
Coffee is like, every time I order coffee, it's fucked up. People make fun of me.
Really?
I get the craziest ones. Yeah. So it's definitely different. But people there are nice, but it's different.
Yeah.
But the LA thing is it's just a whole like 180-degree different lifestyle. How things happen. After a day, I'm like fine with it. It's like good. I just, driving everywhere tweaks me out.
Right.
I mean, I think that's a New York thing, man. Like, New York is crazy. It's just buzzing. Like, if you were born, like, I was just thinking about this. Like, if you're from New York, you've lived in this buzzing. I mean, I'm sitting like, our coffee cups are like, rippling. You know what I mean? Like, we're sitting here, like, it's just a constant sort of rumble.
Yeah.
And man,
I moved
That's
out of
gnarly.
Manhattan in 2000 because I couldn't take the city anymore. It was just too crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't go that far. I went across the Hudson River. But I just remember being like, I can't take Manhattan anymore.
To New Jersey? Is that?
Yeah, Jersey City.
Yeah.
But it was still urban, but it was just not as dense.
Right.
But then it got really dense, and then I moved to Raleigh. Yeah. So I guess the denseness isn't good either. But I do like the space. I like first time in my life. I don't have to
You still
work.
have a place here, so you go back and forth.
But the first time in my life, I have a parking spot. I think LA is a different kind of. It's really intense, like with the freeways and stuff. I just think it's a different kind of driving.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe I'm sensitive to that.
No, it is. Well, it's faster. You know, everyone's going like, here you're not really getting very fast.
No, lights everywhere and shit like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for a New Yorker, just going anywhere would be jarring. You know, it would be like, or the opposite of jarring, whatever that is.
So do you think are you constantly kind of keeping your eye open for, wow, does this seem cool?
Yeah, always. I mean, I think every city, we all think, could I live here?
Right.
Right.
But nothing's ever like, I've never thought like, oh my God, I love this place or something. I don't know. For me, it's just always been circumstantial. I never thought about where I want to live.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it just happens and you go.
I just go where, the girls are or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but as a producer, a writer, performer, solo artist, band, is there one of those things that you enjoy most?
Yeah, I like the studio stuff.
Studio.
Yeah, I love it. I'm a homebody. I like to kind of, hyper focus on stuff. Like, just kind of get in my studio and disappear into that world. I love it.
And you put out your own records?
No, I usually find somebody, and this time Third Man has come to the rescue.
Oh, great.
And they're gonna.
Right.
It's a very good fit.
Yeah, I think so. Right.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. Yeah. So I'm super excited. And yeah, this record feels like my first record again. Kind of. It's been a long time. It has been a long time since I put out a record, but also I think I'm really proud of it. I feel like.
It's very immediate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really grabs you.
I think it is, but I also think it has legs too.
Yeah.
I think it's like, some good shit. Like,
I can't wait to listen to headphones.
Yeah.
Just to hear different things.
If not, just listen to Michael Ilbert's mixing. Like, I love that, man.
Yeah.
He's like,
that's great.
Yeah.
It's great to have that kind of relationship with someone where you trust them.
Yeah, Jack was like, what? What the fuck?
You
like,
just
no
send it to
way.
someone?
I was like, yeah, man, it's the best. Because I'll tweak and shit. And
Were there revisions? Did he send you stuff?
There was a couple of things, but not much.
Right.
You know, he wouldn't send me something to revise. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he wasn't
Right.
thinking that way. He was like, "Go
This
for
is
it.
it.
This is
Right.
it."
Wow.
Did you do like a test mix, or you just went, "I'm in"?
Yeah, we did one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did Half a Boy first. We did a test mix of the hardest song on the record. Actually,
Right.
Wow,
like
great.
drums sounded like crap.
Yeah.
like
And
I
is
fucked
that the
up.
mix that's on the record? That
And
he
that's
sent
the
you?
mix. Yeah.
So you didn't. You just said that's it.
I was like, "Yep, you got
let's
it. You
go."
nailed
Great.
it."
Right.
And I had actually a bunch of other people mix it too, and asking favors from friends too. I'm like, "Hey man, you wanna, would you help me out?" No longer friends with these people now. I'm just kidding, but they,
Ex-friends.
Yeah.
but yeah, man, no one came close.
Right.
Yeah.
No
Had
one
you
got
thought
it.
of doing it yourself?
Yeah, oh yeah, and I wanted to because I love mixing,
Right.
but I don't think I'm very good at it. Sadly, I just
Or was it good to
It's all relative.
have a different perspective on your, like maybe you're
I did
better
the one.
mixer on someone else's record than your own?
Yeah, that's for sure. Definitely. Like, I thought, and I was honest with myself about that. I'm like, I can barely mix somebody else's record. Like, no way. And I was and I was curious.
Right.
And the idea was attractive. Like, wow, just let it all go.
Right.
And let him figure out what's best.
Right.
I like that. I
That's
like
beautiful. What
Yeah.
a trust.
It's nice having a great,
A real trust,
an
yeah.
outside perspective at that stage.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Someone who hears something fresh.
totally.
Because you've been living with it for a long time.
And I've done everything. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
at no point along the way has anyone said, "Really?"
Right.
Or,
Right.
or hey, how about not doing that or something? I don't know,
Banjo?
or banjo. There's no one there to say that. But yeah, but it's funny. And then in the Raconteurs, like I said, it was kind of the exact opposite.
Right.
Like I was always like, dude, I didn't even play that part right. I mean, I didn't even like do it right. It's cool.
It's funny. That's very, like, Dylan does that.
Yeah.
He goes and he sings it once and
Yeah,
whatever.
like, and there's all sorts of mistakes. Like the
Also-
band's like, what? Oh shit!
And
yeah,
I know the guys in his over the years, and they're always doing the same thing. Can we go in and just like fix that?
Yeah.
No.
right,
Can we?
right.
No.
Oh, that's
Done.
interesting.
I think it's also like a real blues thing. Like
Yeah.
both of them really are kind of deeply rooted in like older kind of folk
Oh yeah,
blues stuff. That I think that was the approach.
Yeah.
And
and that's the reason I was attracted to Jack in the first place, because he was making mistakes. He was okay with, or
Mistakes.
I don't know, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
and I was so up my ass at that point in my life, having made a record. I think I had made the record, toured it. I was about to be dropped from my label, I think, and just sort of thinking way too much about everything. Like people, literally the A&R guy telling me I didn't have a chorus for new material I had been writing. So anyhow, and I see this guy Jack White, in the White Stripes play, and it's like, oh my God, this is what it's about. It's
Yeah.
not
Right.
about any of that other stuff, like the craft or the whatever I'd been like studying Beach Boys and Beatles records and shit, and so he just kind of I saw what I used to be like.
yeah.
Maybe,
Right.
just like I didn't
Right,
I never
right.
was hung up about mistakes
Right,
or
right.
anything.
Well,
There was something else going on that was way more important,
Yeah,
right? It was
yeah.
like
That's right. There's a real confidence when you see someone like Dylan or Jack White. They're
Yeah.
supremely confident
Oh my
because
God,
they
yeah.
don't care if there's
Yeah.
a note funny or
Yeah.
someone's making a. They're
Yeah.
confident in the sum parts
yeah,
of it being significant, and if there's,
yeah.
But
Yeah, it's
also
pretty
when dealing
amazing.
with, when you've made 30 records, do you really want to sweat the small stuff?
Yeah.
well, some people
That
do.
too, right.
I mean,
But he was doing that early on.
Yeah.
Dylan was,
Yeah.
right? He was
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Yeah.
those records. I wonder if it's what he intended, but I love those things about the records.
Yeah.
Like
and I think at a certain point, similar to
I
Jack,
think it's because I think he wants to present that the band is very much following him.
That's right.
And he's
right.
in control.
Right.
And,
Exactly.
And if you don't know that, then you'll see it when he fucks up. I'm still going. Like,
Exactly.
Right.
I don't know.
and there's
Which I don't give a shit about, but
Right.
I want to present something that's kind of already, not perfect, but kind of. Like
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Well, you can't like
impressive in that other way, in
like
another
your record.
way.
You can't. That style of a record doesn't just pop out. It's crafted.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just. The thing of singing like harmonies. You can't just go, okay, let's sing a harmony.
Yeah, but just don't. Yeah, but sing it kind of like like don't sing it that well.
Right.
Right.
But you gotta like you can't just sing harmony parts without working it out.
Right.
Right.
You gotta kind of. There's a craft to that that's beautiful, and you were saying the Beach Boys
Right.
or the
Yeah.
Beatles or whatever.
But also, even we were talking about it earlier, like the Traveling Wilburys.
Right.
That record is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's crafted, but
Super
it's
crafted.
very vibey.
Totally. It's got all. They have all of those people. I don't know. I wonder if they all had, a kind of say in the production of it or anything. But I mean, of course.
Well, that record as a producer, Jeff Lynne.
Yeah.
Think about what he had to do to get that record, those two records made.
Right.
To get these guys in a room,
Dylan.
sing it, writing
Just to
songs.
wrangle Dylan
Well, all of
and
them.
get him to sing.
And to get in a room, agree to this concept, write the fucking songs.
Yeah, and make him good.
And make them good. And also, a lot of that stuff is just sitting around a kitchen table with notepads, and then he kind of beautifully earned their trust, I believe, and they let him put his little shape to the whole thing.
Yeah.
And those are, that's kind of like one of the greatest bands of the last 30
that's one of my
years.
favorite records forever. But that's a totally different record than the Dylan records we're talking about.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
In fact,
and Dylan's on the record.
Right.
So
Pretty much the opposite.
Yeah.
No, not
Very-
the opposite, but
very much so.
very crafted or constructed and kind of.
But try to put yourself as a producer in that chair.
Yeah, man. Just getting Dylan right. I mean, that's no joke, actually.
he's also Jeff Lynne. I mean, he's obviously
but still, he keeps saying, you get Dylan in a room with a notepad, and can you imagine being the other writers in the room going, we're going to co-write a song right now, Bob.
Yeah, right.
Like,
or how
how
about
the fuck does that
hey Bob,
happen?
how about this? I
Right,
came up
yeah,
with
right.
for a verse. Fuck you.
but at that point he's a Wilbury.
I guess.
You know what I mean? He's not Bob
And they
Dylan.
probably weren't. They probably sang their own parts. I mean, I'm sure no one was saying like, "Hey, sing this." Or whatever.
Yeah.
But
But he's.
you're right.
interesting.
That's quite a feat.
I
I never thought about that.
From beginning to end, he set.
But
by-
there was a kind of a natural or an inbred thing. It's Roy Orbison.
Yeah.
Right. Bob
Tom
Dylan,
Petty.
Tom Petty. There's
George
kind of
Harrison.
a pecking order almost, and sort of a little society. You know what I mean? That works. Like so, you just get them together and then go. And then this guy's trying to impress this guy, and he's trying to impress that guy,
Right.
and then I don't know. Maybe that's the genius too.
Yeah.
Like, pick
pretty-
just the right guys. Like
Yeah.
you got old kind of class, legit.
Right.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
No, you're right. You're totally right. George Harrison was in the Beatles, and he was the third guy.
Right.
He was
Yeah.
the third man. Sorry, no pun intended.
Right.
But you know what I mean. So he,
It did kind of right. I mean, like he assembled. I don't know if he assembled it or
I
whatever.
think
How
he
it happened?
did.
Really?
I think he did.
Damn.
They did. I think they recorded him and Jeff Lynne recorded one song, and he said, "Let's bring in a couple other guys."
Yeah.
But they didn't bring in cats like players.
Right.
They brought in like
like Dylan.
right. They brought in like some funky dudes.
who's the drummer? The famous drummer,
Jim Keltner.
Yeah, I mean he's a cat. They brought him in.
Yeah,
They
he's
brought him
badass.
So good.
And there's actually I think there's a documentary, the making of
Oh,
the
really?
first record. It's
Really?
awesome.
Oh God.
But there's Keltner's playing the refrigerator.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I
and
gotta
it's
see
really
that.
cool. And they're sitting, and Dylan's, and it's a funky studio. It's Dave Stewart's studio. A couple
Where's
of things
that? Where was that?
in LA. A couple of things hanging on the wall. Dylan drives himself to the studio in a van.
Oh my God, it's so
Like,
funny.
You see him driving up in a van.
Is that real?
Yeah. We digress.
Yeah.
But in honor of a great band.
Yeah.
Anything else that we should
No, I don't.
talk about? Any stuff that we missed?
Should we talk about the new record a little bit?
The next record?
Yeah, the next record. Should we run out of things to say about this record?
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for doing this.
Thank
by the
you.
way.
Thanks very much for having
What
me.
a treat, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
love
hope
the record. and
You know,
When Ken reached out, I was emailed these guys and I was like, holy fucking shit. We got to make this
cool.
happen.
Oh, nice. Thanks.
And the day was perfect.
yeah,
Because
Cool.
we were both had.
right. He's rarely in town these days. So
Well, really?
I come up. I'm here all month. I come up quite a bit.
So you avoid me when you come.
I'm working
No, I've been
when I
here for a
come
long.
up.
I've been here for a while.
I saw you last night.
Yeah, exactly.
So now you are sick all the time from flying.
No, I don't fly. I drive.
Oh.
I did a really.
How far is that?
It's 7 hours. But I bring up microphones and because I work down
Okay.
there too, so I have to
Yeah.
constantly shuttling things back and forth. But long story short, I did a really fast record with a 3-girl Vancouver band called the Courtneys, and they landed, and at each stage of the record, one of them wasn't feeling well.
Oh shit. Yeah.
So I knew
Yeah.
in the control room there was no way.
Right.
So by the last day, I just was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get something. Thank you so much for
So
coming.
great to have you.
Really
man.
great.
Really,
Really
what a
pleasure.
treat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really fun.
Me and Stewie want to thank all you Gear Clubbers for listening to this crazy podcast we do. If you can, leave a review on iTunes. It really makes a difference. And don't be shy. We love hearing from you guys on the social media at Gear Club Podcast. Don't forget to go to gearclubpodcast.com for Spotify playlists, links and photos for the episodes, and my favorite hot sauce of the month.